There's a lot of damage when it gets in your face, but you can also lock him down. Picks like the Orianna have given him trouble. We've seen, especially over in the LEC.
And Legacy looking currently for the Lucian, something we haven't seen. Well, we kind of saw a bunch on day one, and then it fell off a little bit today. We haven't seen it banned, haven't seen it picked too much, but instead, this game
Evelynn time.
Locked in. Is it Evelynn time?
I mean, Lilia and Nidalee are banned. Lucian is picked. That usually means Evelynn is going to come on through. They don't necessarily have to go with Evelynn right here because there's already a jungle picked on the other side, but that should be the expectation. That would be my expectation at least.
At the moment, it is going to be Thresh instead. Hasn't been played too much by Ioz. Ioz actually has like an incredibly huge champion pool. He's played like Bard, Lux, Yuumi, Taric, Morgana, Soraka, Lulu, Thresh, Blitzcrank, Karma, Nautilus, Leona, and Braum, all in.
So he's played literally everything?
Pretty much every support apart from Set and Wukong. But Thresh is a pick that he is comfortable on. We've seen him on a couple of times throughout the course of the split. And now, I wouldn't be surprised at all by the Ashe. Gives you that utility, gives you good lane presence. And Tactical has proven more than enough times that he knows how to pilot the champ.
Yeah, so what's the pairing for CoreJJ now? Because, I mean, would we do something like a Blitzcrank up against the Thresh? Can be a good matchup for sure, but you definitely usually see a lot of pairing of hard CC supports next to that Ashe.
Bard. Like, his Bard is absolutely
actually
unstoppable. Ashe has safety in the lane. They're going to go for the Orianna for Jensen now instead, obviously prioritizing getting a strong mid lane pick for Jensen, but I would have loved to see Bard come out there for CoreJJ, only because I've talked to a lot of my North American colleagues and I've watched some CoreJJ Bard. It is a delight, to be sure.
It seems like there's like two different types of these roaming supports, and all our supports are going to be good, like the Thresh and the Nautilus roaming around the map, the really top tier ones. They've got that Bard in the mix as well, and we've got a Ziggs now. I'm expecting this to be a bot lane Ziggs. That would be my expectation. I think that Thresh works really well by himself, and against the Ashe, when you see that locked in, Ziggs is a champion that can actually compete for bot lane priority, and I think can be solid when looking to play for early turret play.
I see that. I think having watched some of the OPL and just knowing, like looking at Raze's champion pool, looking at Tally's champion pool, I would be surprised if Raze, who is known as the best AD carry in the OPL, is the one who's put onto Ziggs. However, what they could do is take Raze, put him on the Lucian, put him in the mid lane, and then take Tally, who has played more Ziggs, and put him down
because we do know that Tally has played Ziggs over in the OPL. I really like Ziggs in bot lane. It's something that I'm hoping we see more of. We have seen a little bit of the experimentation, rather, of AP champions, especially from Gadget. We saw the Orianna and the Swain, of course, but some room here for a Legacy to play around how they want.
Yeah, it's definitely a good pick into the Ashe. It's just debating whether or not Raze is the one to pilot it down towards that bottom side. Hasn't played he has actually played one Ziggs game throughout the course of this split.
There you
So
go.
obviously, Ender, you were clairvoyant.
We'll see what ends up happening. Regardless, I like the Ziggs pick. We were talking a little bit about the zone control. It can be very effective against a champion like the Graves, and while TL were quick to pick up the Orianna and prevent that from going into Legacy's hands, the Ziggs can offer that. We also looked at the Blitzcrank as a potential pick for CoreJJ down bot side that Legacy also smartly removed. But now with Evelynn getting taken off, I'm like, did we wait too long to pick that one up?
And also, like, hovering the Bard against the guy that you expect to pick it's like, as much as I'm sure Jazz and Team Liquid have it in their minds, do you want to remind them that CoreJJ is this incredible Bard player and you can pick up the Bard? Looks like it's going to be a Jarvan in the jungle for Legacy as they hovered through a slew of different picks. Has been brought into the role once by Babip this split.
I really don't love Jarvan versus Graves, though. Like, obviously, we don't always look at jungle matchups in the lens of the 1v1, but Jarvan can't really do anything to Graves, who can easily dodge away from the EQ, build up grit, and really blast him inside of his ultimate as well. So in that sense, it's going to be good. What the Jarvan really does unlock is playing around with this Thresh in particular, either ganking bot lane or looking to roam towards mid, maybe even going top lane, depending on what Tapoon chooses to take for himself. But this puts a lot more pressure on Babip, on this Jarvan, to make stuff get done early, because otherwise this Graves rather is going to be really immense.
And the Jarvan, I remembered them playing it in the OPL finals. Just had a quick look now. It was the second game when they subbed in Halo in the mid lane, who was their substitute mid laner, and they lost. So the only time they've played Jarvan this split is the time they lost on it in those finals. No Bard here, though, for Team Liquid. They're going to bring Rakan back for CoreJJ. Had a great performance on it yesterday. and gives him that little bit of extra engage potential alongside the Ornn.
And, you know, Rakan, a little bit more exciting than a Bard. I'm going to be honest. Get those flashy plays going with CoreJJ. You love to see that, especially paired with the Orianna. So once again, Team Liquid, as seems fairly standard for them, drafting some strong team fight composition here. A lot of all-in potential and the damage to back it up.
Sylas, the final pick here for Legacy. Expect that to go up into the top lane for Tapoon. He has so many good ults, like Quickness, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Shockwave is good-ish if you can get into the meat of the battle, collateral damage, and Call of the Foot. Like, I'm looking at this as like a buffet of ultimates just to
for sure. Sylas loves this, and especially the matchup against the Ornn in the top lane. You know, he's gonna have a good time, especially with the W. It's hard to push him out or actually look for a kill, but he can pick up that Ornn ult and then look for those TP plays, or even as simple as walking it down towards that mid lane. The last we saw on the screen, it was Lucian in mid lane, which I do personally like, but we'll see what these teams ended up going for.
Tally, previously a top laner, switched to mid lane this year to play with Legacy, and has been having a pretty good time of it, of course, as Legacy won the OPL with a 3-1 victory versus Order. Now, both these teams undefeated so far in this group. Both of them looking to equalize Supermassive at 2-0 and to separate themselves from INTZ, who are at the bottom on 0-3. The winner of this game will guarantee themselves a spot in knockouts. Of course, the top 4 teams from each group go to knockouts. And if you win this and you are 2-0, you cannot lose 3 more games. And INTZ are sitting at 0-3, so they cannot catch up with you.
Yeah, so this game, obviously a big deal for these two teams. I'm a little surprised, honestly, coming out of the draft phase to see how these two teams attacked it, because I feel like Team Liquid didn't really put too much pressure on themselves to get a lot done early on. They have some solid lanes, some good blind picks, of course, and Graves is going to be farming up a store. I do feel like there is pressure over on the side of Legacy, especially Bobbip on the jungle with the J4, making plays around strong early lanes to play for turret plates and, of course, those kills.
I mean, historically, Legacy have looked to the top lane, and Barbit has looked to the top lane to try and get Tapoon ahead and then utilize that advantage. Now, the Sylas Ornn matchup is not one I've seen a huge amount. Is there the possibility that they can try and shut down Impact early on?
Yeah, so I do think if Ornn does get pushed in that lane and you set up the lane so that he has a long way to run to his tower, you can gank there. But I think, especially for rocking Lucian in mid and Ziggs Thresh down bot side, I would actually like to see more pressure put around those areas to unlock support to roam with the jungler. I know it's not necessarily the Legacy bread and butter, but the way they have drafted is exactly what they are saying. They want to play through that combination to support Tally and Raze hitting these turrets early.
And we just have a pause as we jump straight on into the game, so we'll get that sorted and then get back on into the action. It's been a great day of League of Legends. I've loved it. Like, we'll talk more about Team Liquid and Legacy as we go throughout the course of this game, but let's just talk about like what we've seen today. And like,
sure.
LGD lost to Rainbow Seven, which is just, that's mind-blowing. LGD are 0-2 in the group. Mad Lions got knocked down by Supermassive in the game that we just watched. Unicorns of Love look incredibly strong. We saw Legacy beat INTZ earlier today. Like, it feels that this play-ins is the closest in terms of skill level across the board that it's ever been.
Yeah, and when you look at it, it's like, okay, the LPL and LEC are now sending their 4th seeds into play-ins, which does mix things up, but we're looking at groups now, and this Group A in particular, where Team Liquid look to be the favorites with Supermassive as the team to chase them. Of course, this game is the opportunity for Legacy to also put themselves into the conversation. Just to win against INTZ is not enough to prove yourself in the play-in stage.
And I will say, if Legacy, like the expectation is here, Legacy should be on the back foot the entire game. Like Team Liquid, they are clear favorites in this game, especially after their showing yesterday against Mad Lions. They'll probably play the early game relatively slow. That's the Team Liquid way. And then when we get to team fights, when we get to coordinated map play, that's where Team Liquid really come online.
Yeah, and the team fights especially. You look at Ornn, Graves, Orianna, Ashe, Rakan, like it is a very clear story over here for Team Liquid, who seem to have lasered in on a couple of styles that they want to play. Of course, yesterday they had the global options, right, with the Mordekaiser and the TF to really collapse and hit side lanes hard. Today they said, look, Legacy, we're not worried about them early on. We're going to get through the lane phase. Don't, make things too complicated. We're just going to get to those team fights. And yeah, I like the cohesiveness I've seen from this comp.
It's just works so well together. And when you have the Call of the Forge God coming in from the side and the Rakan jumping onto the back line, it's going to be very difficult for Legacy to reposition around. You do have some mobility. You've got the Lucian who can dash. You've got the Jarvan who can reposition in the middle of a fight. And the Lantern, I feel. The Lantern coming out from Isles on this Thresh could be defining in some of these team fights. Because if a Call of the Forge God comes down and then you're able to Lantern someone out before the quickness can follow up, before the arrow can follow up, you negate so much of that engage potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lantern is going to be a really big deal, as you mentioned. And Thresh in particular, this is a game where we're going to have to see Legacy really unlock Isles to make plays around the map with their Jarvan. Because, I mean, we briefly hit on this earlier, but if you look in the jungle, you're getting outscaled in that regard. If you're looking at Orianna versus Lucian, while Lucian's scaling is not terrible, when you consider what they have to offer to team fights, you're always going to err on the side of that Orianna. And even Ziggs' damage can be fairly unreliable in team fights if it's not paired up really well with either the Jarvan ult or a stolen, really big Wombo ulti that Sylas can go ahead and find for himself. So we're always going to err towards the side of Team Liquid the later we get into this game, I feel. But, of course, Legacy have the options with the Jarvan and the Thresh to unlock more plays early on.
It's a mountain for Legacy to climb. Historically, the OPL has not done incredibly well when it comes to Worlds and international performance. Last year, Bombers went out of MSI play-ins. Mammoth lost their tiebreaker in the playing groups to Unicorns of Love and were knocked out. I mean, Legacy, the last time they were at the world stage was 2014 when we still had the International Wildcard Tournament, and they bombed out of that as well.
Yeah.
So the OPL, it seems like every time we come to Worlds and when we come to international tournaments, they are like, maybe this year, maybe this year, maybe this year. And after their first performance, you know, I have a little bit of hope in them, but this is the game that will really define whether the OPL have come to fight.
Yeah, it's always a big matchup here for OS to finally try and take down North America. I remember the best pregame speech of all time, the best I have ever heard, was 2017 Worlds play-ins. And it was Direwolves playing against Cloud9, and I believe it was the owner of the Direwolves who came up on stage and gave this long speech about how the Direwolves were like native to North America and now they're finally going to return and they have to take what they want, and they didn't pull it out in the end. Yep. But it was intense. So these teams are always looking to put themselves up against top contenders from the larger regions, and this is now Legacy's chance to do the same.
Of course, we do apologize for the pause. We'll be back on into the game as soon as everything is rectified. Originally, it was CoreJJ who had an issue with some of his settings, and now it looks like one of the Legacy players is seeing some attention. In fact, I thought I had an announcement for you, but they have moved the auto queue away from where it was.
There's no announcement. There is an announcement.
Team Liquid's CoreJJ and Mads Tally reported an in-game issue that we are currently investigating. So there we are. It's not Mads Tally, it's Legacy's Tally.
He might be mad about it.
I think what happened there is it goes to show they could put anything up on that auto queue and I would probably read it out word for word. But yeah, Legacy.
That's how the writers get their revenge, right? They just start putting like confusing things in the prompter. You know, you get to read something and it's like, oh, I didn't write that. Delete it instantly. And
oh, that's true, actually. Yeah.
Evan, if you're listening, please don't do that.
Hey, I'm saying, Evan, that's pretty sus. Okay, it's pretty suspect. Evan is the imposter, I think is what we've worked out. But let's take just a wider picture view of planes generally, as we don't need to because we're going to get on into the game. Let's talk about League of Legends,
yes.
Ender. Let's do it. So, let's have a look down these rune pages. Lethal Tempo on the Ashe, as expected. Guardian on the Rakan. Press the attack, Lucian. You tend to see that in the mid lane. But then Conqueror Jarvan is like, I can understand it, but it feels a little bit aggressive to me. You could also go for something a little bit more tanky.
Yeah, so I think the two options you usually see on Jarvan are either the Conqueror or the Electrocute. And I think we've seen a lot more people go towards the Conqueror for the sustained fight. Yeah. Electrocute, after some nerfs a long time ago, is just more frowned upon by junglers with lower damage and lower cooldown. You're not spamming out ganks in pro games, so you might as well go for that Conqueror. And it also means you have easy access into Legend Tenacity, the rune choice that'll be very effective against an Ashe later.
So there is a ward that Team Liquid have just walked over that the sweeper did not spot. So Legacy know this is happening, and they know that Broxah is in their jungle. Babip has started on the top side of the map. Wonder if he's going to try and EQ.
He's going to go red to blue. Yeah,
is he spotted on the sword? Yeah.
Yeah, he should be on that one. Yep. So the reason why I think this is a really good play from Team Liquid is because I always think the Bobib's plan was actually going to be to go red to blue right off the bat here. It's something you can do. Level 1 on Jarvan, you don't really have that many tools to fight, but level 2, hop over the wall and go for that one. So now the map is going to be fully split. This also provides a lot of protection for Tactical and CoreJJ on the bottom side, but Impact will have to make sure this lane doesn't start pushing away from him. And I think it's in a good position to hold shield right here, so he doesn't have to worry about a Jarvan.
Tapoon hits 2 first, gonna abscond, abduct in.
Ooh.
That's quite a bit of damage. Kingslayer, of course, healing Tapoon up at the start of that fight.
Yeah, but look at that grass proc from Impact. He's level 1 and got a whole chunk out of Tapoon on the way out there, so he's going to be feeling fine with that one. Now, one of the things we mentioned in draft was like early pressure from lanes from Legacy to back up this Jarvan on the invades. Another reason why I think dodging out from BoBiP early on is going to be good, but because there's pushing lanes, it makes it harder for BoBiP to actually find a gank. Top lane, he can't go there. Mid lane, he can't really find a move either, but Tapoon, holy!
So this is where Legacy get their advantages. Tapoon is a monster, and I was wondering when I watched their games whether he would be a monster on an international level as well, or whether he was just a big fish in a small pond. And it looks like with these initial trades, he could be at a level where he can challenge Impact.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on it as we go into this game, because it's one thing to take some good trades in a lane matchup. It's a whole other to be able to have that same influence of stealing those big ultimates later on in the game too. Is heavy trading around mid, and there might even be an opportunity for Brox. I don't think you actually commit here because, of course, Tally could just walk into the river and then all of a sudden there's a Jarvan, but that Jarvan's looking for a dive top.
Impact is going to clear out the way with the Bellows Breath, gets the knock-up onto Tapoon, but here comes BoBiP. Impact with an early flash to get out. Summoner burnt there on the Ornn, and now Broxer is sitting around the middle lane looking to see if he can catch out Tally.
Yeah, now that they saw BoBiP, he can go for this play. He wasn't going to originally, but it is open to them now. Still a flash and a dash for Tally. Should mean no kill opportunity, but we're back for round 2, Medic.
There's only 3 minions here, though. One is going to get cleared out as BoBiP tries to get in, and Impact done a good job just of slowing up the Jarvan, and has a little chuckle as he watches him walk away.
Yeah, BoBiP thought he could make something happen there, but I think the previous gank Impact had committed forward with the E, which made it a little bit easy to line up that EQ, force the flash away. And now Broxah will be back off of the reset. And this is something that is less than ideal when you're playing an early game ganking jungler, is if the opposition is recalling before you, it actually reduces a lot of the time where you can make plays. You know, he doesn't want to walk into mid lane on low HP when Tally is going to be low as well, because it's a very easy answer for Broxah.
Tapoon trading onto Impact once again. Just a couple more auto attacks would be enough, but the saving charge is saved. Impact will get away. Tally's recall was stopped. That's so good.
Broxah's going to keep going. Oh no, it's so doomed for Tally this whole wave. It might be kill.
Broxah smoke screen misses the end of the line. Tally has to burn his flash.
But it's a flash on top. It's not even just delaying the reset, forcing a TP out of Tally. Like, that is an entire minion wave denied in mid. Tally had a CS advantage, but because of the delayed time, Jensen has now come ahead in CS in a losing matchup.
And also doesn't have to teleport back to the lane. You can see Tally just used his as a pickaxe in that lane now. Tapoon's going to work his way back towards the top lane, and Broxah has total control of this top side of the map.
I want to see if Legacy can get a deep ward inside that bot lane, because Tapoon has his teleport and BoBiP is on the bottom side of the map. You have the Lantern now to work with these lane gank plays. Also a blasting cone for BoBiP to hop over the wall on, but this is something Team Liquid's bot lane is going to be aware of. You see CoreJJ, he doesn't have a ward because he went for the level 1 sweeper, so he's being a human ward in that bush. With his mobility, he's pretty safe to go ahead and step up for that.
It's something Team Liquid did so well against Mad Lions yesterday as well. The ability just to step forward, understand where your opponents are. Tally's going to get forced away here.
Ouch.
Has to dodge away because that shockwave is available for Jensen.
Exactly, it's the level 6 difference. We saw before the reset, Tally able to play a little bit more aggressively there. Now BoBiP is just around to help push out this wave. BoBiP always going to be on vision too. I mean, right now he's obviously revealing himself, but there's double control wards in this topside jungle, and Jensen might look for the ult.
Stepping forward. Ooh. I think what he was trying to do, so you can see where the Demacian standard is, right? Just between those two minions. Jensen deliberately towards it as Tally gets hit with the shockwave. Broxah trying to trade onto him. BoBiP in the way. Here comes the TP. Jensen flashes away, and now that teleport is going to be burnt for nothing. Tapoon unable to get into the fight.
It's a disaster for Legacy right there. Not only does Tally go down, but the one advantage they had with the teleport is gone too, as you rightly mentioned. Jensen punishes the flashless Tally, and Broxah, like, the slow motion of the end of the line returning his Tally, has absolutely nothing he can do against it. It was brutal.
And already Team Liquid getting out to an early lead. 700 gold ahead, and we wondered whether the OPL could challenge against the LCS. Well, right now, LCS is having a field day.
This is just, oh, you hate to see it, you really do. And Broxah gets the line up against the wall. BoBiP unable to answer with Jensen's good flash to escape from that. It's starting to look grim for Legacy, because again, while it is just a kill, remember, by going for the Jarvan in the jungle, by, you know, taking Lucian in mid, you were supposed to come out with an advantage, and to lose that 2v2 is deadly.
It's just all of those incremental advantages that a team like Team Liquid will snowball off, right? They will take those small bits and they'll make 100 gold into 1,000. They'll make a plate into a tower. They'll make a first dragon into a soul, right? It's what Team Liquid do so well. They are not the most aggressive team. They are not the bloodiest team, but instead, they are a team that will take those small leads, snowball them away from you, and then beat you in team fights.
Speaking of those team fights, Tactical has reached level 6, so has access to the arrow and has been completely uncontested in this bottom lane because of the early swap. Broxah split the map, and now it's split once again. Jensen picks up the blue buff and full control for Team Liquid around the bottom side of the map. I would not be surprised to see that turn into an Ocean Drake very soon for Legacy. I don't really feel like, or rather for Team Liquid, because I don't feel like Legacy have a lot of firepower around it.
You see as well, Impact's just able to roam away from that top lane. Tapoon hasn't got to the Hextech Revolver yet, assuming he's building up towards a Protobelt with the Kindle Gem. Catalyst of Aeon's already finished on Impact, means that he is very healthy in some of these lanes. And
ooh, look at this. Bobbip is running over to get that blue buff trade. It is delayed though, and Broxah is going to be done with this red buff soon. Going over the ward, good hook.
Good hook onto CoreJJ. He's going to bring him back underneath the tower, but the power of Rakan is his ability to battle dance away. And Bobbip, instead of going for blue, has decided Rift Herald is the play.
Interesting. I mean, I feel like once you reach level 6 on Jarvan, continuing to farm, like obviously you're going to continue to farm, but you do need to transition that advantage somewhere else because Graves, again, is going to be outscaling you. But now, the rest of Team Liquid is on the way to try and stop this from going down, and there's an arrow coming up the river.
Chana Crystal arrow goes wide.
Oh.
Tapoon, but the Shockwave was available for Jensen. Instead, just chucked a little bit of damage down. Rift Herald secured. Tapoon trying to get onto
Impact.
Knock up. Jensen still stepping forward. The Searing Charge does not connect. Impact still chasing Tapoon down here. Tally's going to try and turn it back around, but Impact's so tanky. Shockwave stolen away by Tapoon. There's the culling onto Jensen. Tapoon goes in. Shockwave hits 2, but it's not enough as Team Liquid to take a kill. And now CoreJJ has the flank position, has the quickness, and he's going
Here it is.
Trying to get onto Babbitt. Now turning his attention to Tally. Can't land it with the Grand Entrance. Babbitt forced away, and Tally is all on his lonesome underneath the tower, but there's not a minion wave here yet.
Medic, I think I know how this one ends. Tally's trying to clear away the minions, but there's 4 members of Team Liquid here.
There is the Shockwave, and there goes Tally. 3-0 already for Team Liquid, a 2,000 gold lead. And Broxah is hard smurfing in this game.
Yeah, I mean, 3 kills picking up all of those right there. Let's not forget Impact's 3-man ulti. The follow-up wasn't able to
helping him smurf, but Endo is a jungle main. You know, you take those.
Yeah, you absolutely do. You know, poor Bobbip's just trying to get the objective for his team, but Team Liquid, they have the team fight. They have the long-range engage. We saw the Ornn ulti there, the Ashe arrow as well will be coming in later, and that is something Legacy do not want to deal with. You don't want to take the full 5v5s, and that Rift Herald was just a giant magnet for TL.
And once again, it's not the key focus, but I want to praise Tactical for a second here because CoreJJ was in top lane. Tactical is here, still on the same amount of CS as his lane opponent in a 2v1, and it's the power not only of Tactical being a very good player, but also the Ashe just gives you that much more safety. You can stand a mile back and chuck out volleys and keep yourself pretty safe. Broxah now looking for a gank in the top lane. Tapoon hasn't really had the impact that Legacy would have wanted him to so far on this Sylas. He jumps onto Broxah, steals away the collateral damage. There's a lot of work, but Tapoon will fall once again as Broxah just needs the final auto attack.
And just quickly trying to reload there. Bobbip in the jungle for Jensen.
Jumps onto Jensen. Jensen doesn't quite have flash back up yet. There's a Cataclysm, and Jensen will go down. First kill of the game to Legacy.
That is a good look, though, for Legacy. And Bobbip, we've been waiting for him to make a play on this Jarvan. It came a little bit late, but they still find Jensen inside the jungle and also deny him that blue buff. So a nice pickup. But this is going to be multiple plates going over solo to Impact.
Oh, there's a Rift Herald available for Bobbip in the mid lane, though, so they're going to try and trade this as effectively as they can. Their goal would be to take this first plate down
Look at this. There could be a fight. Jensen will spawn in 5 seconds and has teleport. CoreJJ is around. His ultimate just barely about to come up.
It looks like Legacy are being patient. They're being apprehensive about the possibility of a roam, so they back away. Just get the 2.5 plates in the mid.
Legacy have also done a good job of keeping consistent vision inside of Team Liquid's jungle. It hasn't always saved them. You know, Broxah was still able to sneak up topside for that gank, but they were able to see Tactical and CoreJJ on the approach towards mid.
So let's take another quick stock of where we are in terms of game state. 2,000 gold lead for Team Liquid, 12 minutes in. 4-1 is the score. Broxah with all 4 of those kills for TL. Legacy are starting to get towards their first items. You can see Manamune stacking up on Tally, Seraph's Embrace complete on Raze. Protobelt on its way for Tapoon, but not quite there yet. Team Liquid are about to get the first dragon of the game. It's an ocean for them, and a cloud next up. So Soul is either Infernal or Mountain.
All right. Right now, Jensen has push, and they see Bobbip inside the jungle. I would almost like to see Jensen try to use this push to then create some pressure down towards bot side, but I think he wants to go back to base. Might have enough to finish off that Seraph's Embrace. One thing we haven't seen Legacy really commit to is roaming Isles and Bobbip around the map together. It's not something they did a lot of in the OPL, but if they want to take full advantage in this mid game, they have to find that combination to make plays, because Team Liquid are looking a lot more coordinated so far in the early stages.
And Tapoon is really just struggling against Impact right now in the top lane. He had a good few early trades, and he can trade effectively against him, but the problem has been it hasn't just been Impact in the top lane. It's been Broxah, it's been Jensen, it's been CoreJJ. Tapoon has just been set behind.
Oh.
At the moment.
Broxah wins these.
Yes, he does. Babbitt's going to face check straight into him and realize he doesn't want a piece of that at all. Tally locked up with the shockwave. Jensen trying to try and put some extra damage down with the command attack. But boom! Collateral damage from across the wall finds his 5th kill of the game.
I mean, Bobbip's right there, but Broxah won't let him save the day. Bobbip now being forced out of his own jungle while Jensen hits the mid lane turret. It is doomed. It is looking real doomed for Legacy. Team Liquid with pressure all over the map.
The only lane that really is not in favor of Team Liquid so far is that bottom lane. It's pretty much even. You can see even if Tapoon can find Broxah by himself, just can't do enough damage, just can't take down the Graves. The True Grit working so well for Broxah.
I mean, and look at Isles on the minimap. He's just bouncing back and forth. He's like, do I go top? Can I make something happen? Do I go back bot? Like, he hasn't been able to find any roam, and while CoreJJ has only found 1 assist, he has constantly been moving towards mid lane and helping create a lot of pressure. Now, Raze might not even be able to farm underneath the tower, because CoreJJ is going to be able to cut him off with the pass.
Look at how far Tally is behind at the moment. Like, he's 96 CS. He's going into a lane where Tactical has 150. His lane opponent has 135. Like, Tally has been a punching bag for Team Liquid this game. 1 and 3. And this Lucian mid pick really hasn't worked out too well for them.
Yeah, I would really like to see. Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll just watch this one more time. Just catches him on the edge. Bobbip, he doesn't know exactly where Graves' positioning is. That's it. That's his excuse, because you can try to walk in front and try to block the extended range on that collateral damage, but it was just a little bit hard to make happen there. Jensen clearing waves in Matrix style.
Oh, yeah, super style.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right before that replay hit, there's a deep ward in that bot lane that Tapoon could have teleported to, and I think that if I'm in Legacy's position, things are starting to get desperate. I would have liked to see them try to force the issue a bit, but you have to figure out a way to force it when Broxah isn't around, because if he's ever in the equation, he's just gonna tear through you.
He's got a 500 gold bounty right now. Tally almost goes down to the collateral damage. The shield from the Lantern will keep him safe for the moment, but here's Jensen. Did have the Shockwave, decided not to use it. Babbit forces him away. The Shockwave comes out, and there's the flash from the Jarvan. Meanwhile, that tower is chunking away at the minions, yet to be taken, but will be short to fall, you have to feel.
But it's just total dominance from Team Liquid. Don't even let him near the tower. Deny the CS, deny everything, steal away jungle camps.
This is how you play textbook League of Legends.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
Get a lead, and you choke the enemy team out of the game, and that's what's happened, right? They were 2,000 gold ahead. They're now 4,000 gold ahead. And the expectation is by 20 minutes, that's 6,000 gold, and Team Liquid do this so well.
But it's just so demoralizing. You press tab and you see Broxah's 5-0 with a Warrior and a Black Cleaver in 15 minutes. Like, Turret Plates just went down. What did he do to deserve this? He got 5 kills.
Farmed enemy champions. Yeah, it worked out very well for him.
Looks like Raze just chucked out his ultimate to try to steal the blue. Did it work? I can't tell.
Broxah doesn't have it.
No, I think Jensen might have picked it up. I only saw it on the minimap, so it was very hard to tell. No, didn't happen.
A shame for Raze, but only a small slight, considering the magnitude of deficit they are in right now. Broxah's going to get the second Rift Herald of the game. First, of course, was secured by Babbit with a nice little play as Broxah is stealing his blue. But this will be able to open up that mid lane. That's the one benefit I guess Legacy have, is it's actually quite hard to siege against the Ziggs, because the Ziggs just like Hextech Minefield, a couple of bombs, the wave is cleared.
Sure.
So the Rift Herald gives you that opportunity just to take a tower a lot easier.
Yeah, I think later on when we get into the game, like TL might actually start committing ultimates like the Orianna Shockwave, the Ornn ultimate as well, to try and zone that Ziggs away from the tower, because I agree, like the wave clear can be pretty hard to break through. But Team Liquid have so many options. That's the crazy thing now is Ocean, or Cloud Drake, rather, is going to be spawning for that reduced ultimate CDR. And now, here comes Arrow in the mid. That'll just instantly break the tower.
It's just above half HP.
Boom.
Oh, you said instantly, Ender.
Yeah, it was like
Your
instantly give or
calculations
take.
were incorrect. There's
Oh
the
no!
shockwave onto Babip.
Oh, the
Straight into
combo!
arrow, into the knock-up. Babip's calculations on how long he could survive were also incorrect.
It was just the calm before the storm. You know,
Yeah.
they needed the extra 1-2 auto attack, and well, Babip died even faster than the tower.
Broxah's still 100% kill participation. It's his first kill that he hasn't got himself this game, though.
You know, it's very kind, Mr. Broxah. Back when he was in the LEC, we used to have a little phrase. It was "Thank Mr. Broxah."
Mr. Broxah.
He comes to your lane, he blesses you with a kill. A lot of thinking for Broxah in this game, I feel like, for the carry.
Oh, CoreJJ and Tactical here looking for a flank position on Tapoon. Jensen's on the chase. 2-level advantage for Jensen. And Tapoon doesn't have a good ultimate to steal out of the ones available to him, and Arrow might help, but you can only lock up one of the 3 opponents. The Shockwave misses. Jensen has a little bit of a sad B as
No, that was
goes
Tapoon
down.
Shockwave. He was using it to clear the wave. He stole it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, but his Shockwave missed.
Yeah. Here we go. Got another fight in the bot lane.
Deary me, and Tally able to dodge away from the call of the Forge God. Guys, this is one of those games where if I was playing in it, I'd be surrendering. Because there's no way I'm Team Liquid's side. That's way too coordinated for my own gameplay. But yeah, this one is all done, but the Nexus falling.
Yeah.
Unless Legacy can find something miraculous and Team Liquid throw a few kills their way.
It'd have to be miraculous, have to be a bit magical in order to turn this one around. Because, I mean, Team Liquid, like, even with the advantage, not giving any breathing room, just layering the CC perfectly right there. While they're getting a kill in top lane, Impact and Brox were tag teaming to try and knock out Tally in the bottom side too. So continuing the pressure, maintaining it, and knowing all the while they're only going to get stronger and stronger as the game goes along.
CoreJJ just continuing to step forward here. That's what I love about him. He kind of reminds me a bit of Hylissang, although he doesn't int as much, which is he gets into the enemy jungle, he gets wards down, he is a nuisance constantly on the map, and he stops the enemy team from ever feeling safe. And that's what really good support can do. Baron up in about 16 seconds. Team Liquid could do it really quickly. You've got a really fed Broxah. You have an Ashe as your AD carry and a tank. So if you wanted, you could go for that 20-minute Baron. It's not the typical Team Liquid style. Instead, they're just going to try and draw Legacy around the map, clear out as much vision as possible, and then look for some of these objectives.
Yeah, just deny them everything you possibly can. And if Legacy ever overstep, they're going to get instantly jumped on with all the long-range CC. It is a really well put together composition. You know, we used to have Jat stats, now we have Jat drafts, and they're looking real good. I grade it an A+.
You give it an A+?
An A+.
It's a super high level for a draft.
I mean, it's just a good draft.
It's true. It's true. It's working out well for Team Liquid right now as they continue to control this top side of the jungle. And I think as they are just looking for these towers, trying to chip away as much as they can. CoreJJ may be going for a flank here, but as soon as he's on the control ward, I doubt he'll go for the full ultimate.
There's a fight in the bot lane.
Yeah, Impact's going to kill Tally. That's about it.
That's all you can call.
The call of the Forge God into the clapback.
I was
combo.
expecting the assassin tank backline mage AD carry. The flowers call. Here we go. Let's see if Babip. Every time you step past that first brush, and I'm like, he's gonna die.
The tower's going to go down. CoreJJ does have the quickness here. Tapoon's going to steal it away and charm CoreJJ out of going for the full engage.
TSM, TSM.
Hey, we have to
They
wait.
play later in the
We have to
tournament.
wait like another week before we get to
Tapoon
chant that.
flagged it, okay? It's not my fault.
That's a level of mental warfare we haven't
Yeah.
really had at many Worlds because emotes haven't really been available at Worlds too often. It's, you can put up the emote for the team that beat the enemy team in their finals, or in their
CoreJJ.
CoreJJ goes in with the quickness and immediately goes out with the quickness. They're just looking for the tower. You talked about it a little bit, and investing ultimates to make sure you can take the turret. If you get the kill, great, as Jensen does manage to chunk out Isles, but that was more about just getting the turret than getting anything else.
Yeah, you'll take the kills if you can get them. You know, don't get me wrong, but right there, that's exactly what you wanted to see. And the Mikhails has come through for Isles now, so that's going to be a good defensive option for them. Unfortunately, if you direct your eyes towards the top of the screen, that is an 8,000 gold lead at the 22-minute mark, and Team Liquid are putting on a bit of a show.
They really are. This is a shellacking, to say the least. And I do want to come back to sort of a bigger picture for this group, Ender, because so far we've seen Team Liquid take down Mad Lions in pretty convincing fashion. We'll watch this again. It's Call of the Forge God into 2 hands slapping the face of Tally to death.
And then he sort of just breathes on him. Jat's like, can he even do that?
It reminds me of, you know, in Sherlock Holmes where he goes discombobulate.
No.
Okay, so in Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows, Robert Downey Jr. does the whole thing. He's Sherlock Holmes. He does this whole thing where he plans out a fight in advance. As Babbitt JJ is going to be able to get out. Taboon there as well. Call of the Forge God coming out as Team Liquid look to see if they can re-engage. Don't really quite find it yet. Impact misses the knockup. But yeah, but he plans out the whole fight and then he says discombobulate and hits the guy on either side of his head.
Right.
That would discombobulate you, by the way.
Yeah. Also, the Ornn Orianna Graves combination.
It's pretty discombobulating.
Yeah. Is that a word?
Combobulating.
I don't think
it
that's
would be combobulating.
Yeah, pretty sure. Honestly, I think TL could just run it down mid, but they'll play for the Dragon. If I run it down mid, I mean take the free inhibitor, because no one is there to defend it.
It would be pretty easy for them to do.
Oh, look at the flank. Look at CoreJJ. This is going to be brutal.
Quickness is just coming off cooldown. CoreJJ in a great position. Taboon trying to be there as well. Trying to see if Core's coming in for a flank position, but Taboon already knocked up, and here comes CoreJJ slowly waiting.
He's waiting. He's patient.
Here he goes. Call of the Forge got used. He jumps onto the backline. Tactical not able to get in range. Brox is actually chunked out just a little bit. Tally going in with the culling as well. Brox is low.
Thank you, Mr. Dragon.
At the back of it, Taboon will be the first to fall as Jensen takes the kill. Tactical steps forward, looking for Raze, looking for Tally. CoreJJ now the front line for Team Liquid.
Jensen still has ulti.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes wide, as you say. Jensen still has the Shockwave. Tactical chunked out. Hextech Minefield, not quite enough. Io's going to fall to the Hextech wind-up from Jensen. Clockwork wind-up. Actually, Orianna's passive as Babbitt jumps back in. Jensen, there's the Shockwave. There's the double. And it took Team Liquid a little while longer than we expected, but they managed to clean up the fight.
Yeah, Ray's trying to teleport out of this one. He's gonna make it out, but the rest of Legacy could not say the same. CoreJJ started off on the flank. They didn't get an instant kill, but Jensen Shockwave shows up for the triple.
Now he's sitting 5-1-5 with the Liandrys, the Seraphs upgraded into the Archangels, and I think Team Liquid might be going,
They're going Baron
for the ban.
24 minutes, so a little bit slow, be honest.
They could have finished this game about 4 minutes ago, let's be honest, with how strong they are right now. But this is the Team Liquid way, and I will say this isn't a slow game in any way, shape, or form. Like, Team Liquid are doing exactly what you should do in this situation. They are 12,000 gold ahead, 25 minutes in, they have a Baron, they've taken 6 towers to 0, they've got 12 kills to 1, they lost 1 Rift Hold, and they've yet to lose a Dragon.
All right, say it in simple terms. Is it good or
Team
bad?
Liquid Smurf on
All
Legacy.
right, thank you. Watch Jensen here. We get the little pro view action. Finds the kill, still has the ultimate the whole time, and then, oh, do Legacy know it? No, they don't. Instant death and destruction.
It's a stampede of Team Liquid, as Legacy have been unable to find a response in any way. And I do want to talk a little bit about, like, the fact they're fighting off against Supermassive for the first place in the group. First place auto qualifies 2 groups, and I think seeing this performance, it's still a little bit hard to judge because both Supermassive and Team Liquid demolished Mad Lions or had really good games against them in a similar fashion. So I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
It's like the hype game.
Definitely, and I think Team Liquid are the expected favorites in this group, definitely now after their performance over the last 2 days, and Supermassive trying to upset that. Again, it's just best of 1, so anything can happen, but the way Team Liquid are playing it is very cohesive and looking very, very strong.
Right now pushing in this top lane, there's a cannon minion here, and there goes the Shurelius looking for the chase. Impact's just going to put his body between the turret and the rest of Team Liquid. There goes the first inhibitor. Inhibitor tower, the inhibitor is shortly to follow. Call of the Forge God used onto Jensen. He's going to eat the Mega Inferno Bomb, but able to get away. There's the counter Call of the Forge God, only hits onto Isles. Inhibitor does fall in the top lane, and now the rest of Team Liquid will rotate over, join Jensen, and push in this mid lane.
1 inhibitor falls, the next on the cards, and the ulti down for Taboon. Still a long cooldown before level 16. Mark raised the instant Mikhail's. Well played by Isles, but not well played enough to stay or to keep this inhibitor alive.
Yeah, I don't think Isles could do anything right now by himself to keep the inhibitor alive.
But it was good Mikhail's.
He's a support, he did what he could. Had a good Mikhail's. Didn't really have much influence on this game. A lot of this was decided by the top side of the map and how fed Broxah got in the first 10 minutes.
Also, shout out Jensen, because while Broxah was picking up the kills, Jensen was involved in all of them.
CoreJJ hooked there by Isles, but now with the super minions, the cannon minions pushing in, Baron buff on them. It looks like Team Liquid might be looking to end this one. They still have 30 seconds with the Baron buff, and Super Wave on its way, almost at the tier 3 tower in the top lane. It's going to chip away at these turrets. Impact still full HP.
All right, this is the wave, Team Liquid. Let's go for the towers.
Impact looks for the searing charge. The first Nexus tower with the target in that top side. Down to about half HP right now. Legacy looking for an opportunity to re-engage. The Nexus tower almost falls. Impact eats all of the damage he can. Takes none in response. Box is now like, hey guys, let's do it tutorial style. I've been watching a lot of Bob Ross. I like to paint by numbers. I want to take this bot lane inhibitor.
But do they even? I think they just want to close out here now, Medic.
They will get the first Nexus tower. Now they're looking for the second. The arrow goes wide. Just chops off the top of a minion's haircut. And Legacy just continuing to try and defend. Tactical steps forward is the call of the Forge God. The Cataclysm used by Babbitt. Tally's already down. Jensen gets one. Tapoon's fallen. Babbitt's fallen. There's another. Isles goes down. Tally the next to follow as Impact tries to chase him away. Tally does what he can with the Carlin, gets back onto the fountain and just about survives. But not much can be said for Legacy's base as Tally goes down on the fountain. Only Raze left alive. 0-0-0, and 0 seems to be the chance that Legacy had. Team Liquid are 2-0.
TL remain undefeated, matching Supermassive at 2-0 in the group, looking real good while doing it. This team did not come to mess around, they came to win.
Look to me like the strongest team in Group A. And perhaps a team to challenge when it gets through to the main stage as well. Of course, Team Liquid will be looking for that first spot. They play Supermassive, I believe, on Monday. It is first game, Monday morning.
Bright and early.
Team Liquid versus Supermassive for the probable first spot in the group. Of course, Team Liquid still have to play INTZ as well. Supermassive still have to play against Legacy. But the expectation is the winner of that will top Group A and make it all the way through into groups. Obviously, commiserations to Legacy, but they still sit at 1-1, which means they have a chance to get that second, third, or even the fourth seed. INTZ, the only team yet to win in that.
Exactly, because the first mission is don't come last place in the group, because if you're last, you're instantly eliminated. If you make top 4, you have a chance in the best of 5, so at least put yourself in that position. Legacy will be looking to take another win, though, later on in this round robin.
We have also guaranteed that Team Liquid will make it at least into the knockout stages of Pliance. So we know we'll be seeing them in a best-of series pretty soon. And soon we'll give you all the headlines from Day 2 of Worlds 2020. So be sure you stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere.